welcome to our marine engineering program. This is the first episode of the first class marine engineering intro class.
Correct.
Danny, thank you.
How you doing?
For me, it's a pleasure to work with you, Danny.
Pleasure to work with you as well.
Thank you. Guys, this is a great combination. It's 1 million of years of experience together.
Yeah. And then the other people that they meet along the line, they'll see even more experience. And
yeah,
so,
I know.
I mean, these videos are really to give you as much information.
Yeah, I know.
You could possibly give in a classroom. We're going to do it by video, and they get to see it physically.
Correct.
You guys are going to really enjoy the video. The video's going to be great.
We have at the end of this program 12 courses. The marine program completely. You have electrical classes, electronics, auxiliary system, hydraulic, air condition, gasoline, transmission, diesel, corrosion. It's a lot of videos, and we are going to share with our students all of our experience and more, because in some cases we invite other great technicians like Glenn and other engineers.
Yeah.
And thank you, Danny.
No,
it's a great.
Thank you for letting us be a part of it.
No, it's a great.
It's fun. It's fun.
Thank you. We enjoy.
Absolutely.
We pass great days.
Absolutely, it's fun. And the nice thing about it is, I really like the way we present it to them, so they understand it. I mean, I know they're at the very beginning stage, but you guys will realize the value of these videos, because the nice thing is you can always go back to these videos and look at it if you don't understand something. It's not like being in a classroom. That, we're just going through the information, and then some people feel bad asking and hold the class up. Here, you don't. You just keep going,
exactly.
You know?
And normally in our courses, in our classes, we have 1 or 2 days of conference during the week.
Absolutely.
And we have a laboratory normally on Fridays, no?
Yep.
The laboratories are nice, no?
Laboratory. Well, they apply everything they learned online, and during the discussions that we have in conferences, you'll actually apply that information.
That's great. That's wonderful.
So not only do you learn it, you see it and you feel it at the same time.
Correct. And this is the first episode, Danny, of this big project. In this episode, we are going to start to talk about the manuals and how important are the manuals in the life of a marine technician, of a marine engineer. What is the difference between a good technician, good engineer, and a regular engineer?
Well, there's 2 types of mechanics: part changers.
Part changers. Yeah, I know.
And real mechanics.
Part changers, there are a lot.
Part changers, yeah. Basically, the part changer is usually the guy that has a technician in front of him troubleshooting and say, hey, you got to replace X, Y, and Z. And then that technician replaces X, Y, and Z, and that's it.
Correct.
But he didn't troubleshoot it, because the troubleshooting is which it's kind of the line that dictates that you're a good mechanic or you're a parts changer.
Correct.
Now, the manuals are important because, like for instance, in my case, in my company, I work on so many different things. So for me to remember specifics of like torque specs, shimming and all that, that's something that I would have to go refer to the manual. That's why I have manuals for that. I don't care to remember that. But as a mechanic, you know how the system works, you know how to do the testing, you know how, and if you forget how it goes, the service manual will actually tell you the process of doing it. Now, if you're a person that only works on a specific motor, then you probably won't need a manual. But you still need a manual, because as time goes, technology changes.
Correct.
So you need, no matter what, you're going to need a manual. If you don't use a manual, you're guessing, you're going to cause a problem for yourself.
And the technician make a lot of mistakes every day because they never refer to the manual.
Always, every technician that works for our company is basically, if you don't know, go get the manual, read it. If you still don't understand, ask me.
Yeah.
But don't just ask me, because what happens is you guys don't realize is if you ask someone to tell you what the answer is, you're not going to remember. But by you reading the manual, you learn other things while you're trying to do the research to figure out how to do things, and then you won't forget because now it's in bed. But if I tell you, you just torque it at this spec. 3 months down the road, hey, torque it at that spec. Do you remember what the spec was? You're not going to remember.
No.
Now, if you physically take the time to read and do the research, you kind of retain the information.
And also it's important for us, Danny and me, when we are dealers of specific manufacturers,
multi-line dealers.
Exactly. We need to follow the rules.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what happened if that engine was improperly installed or the rigging was wrong?
falls on the dealer.
No, that's
Not the manufacturer, it falls on the dealer.
And
The
this-
dealer's responsible
Yeah, I know.
for
I
any
know.
damage inquired because you didn't follow the rigging.
At the end of the day, you pay.
Yeah, at the end of
You
the day,
pay
you
for
pay.
that. Okay, my friend. There are basically three types of manuals that we need to be familiarized. What is the most important manual, in your opinion?
As far as the technician, the service manual
The
to me
service
is the
manual.
most
no?
important.
The service manual is the most important manual. Why, Danny? Because in the service manual you found
Gives you
all the
everything.
procedures.
All the procedures, the specifications for torque, the proper fluid that you need to use. So if you're changing oil, you don't want to use just whatever grade oil.
Wiring diagram,
Wiring diagrams,
hydraulic diagram,
hydraulic, seals,
everything. The grease,
the proper tools to
the proper
use.
tools, the torques.
Torques, right? Yeah. It's,
My friend, this is the Bible. This is the Bible for service, the
Yeah.
service manual. And of course, each manufacturer follow different rules.
yeah,
no?
you're right because different manufacturers have different components. They don't have the same components.
Correct.
So the torque specs will be different. They'll use different seals. You're not going to use a mercury seal on a
No, of
Tohatsu
course, of
or
course.
Tohatsu on an Evinrude. Yeah, that's why the manuals.
For that reason, my friends, our first recommendation is if you don't have the service manual, don't go.
You should always have it.
Yeah.
Listen, the service manuals are expensive. When I say expensive, it ranges from like $70 to about $150 to $200.
That's nothing
But it's not something that you're never going to use again. It's something you'll use all the time.
all the time.
So it's kind of like it's a tool. This manual is nothing but a tool.
Correct.
No different than your tools in your toolboxes. This is just equally important, if not more important.
How much service manual you have in your library, in your office?
I got a lot.
A
We'll
lot.
show them a video with my.
Yeah. We're going to show in the
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Look at the
Yeah,
the
look-
library.
yeah.
This is the library of Mr. Rodriguez here. I have other similar in my office. Yes, depend if you are. Danny is specialized in gasoline engines, inboard, outboard. He's a doctor on that. I am specialized in diesel generators, diesel engines. For that reason, we have a different perspective in some
Right.
cases.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's a good thing, no?
It's a combustible
It's a-
engine.
yeah,
and
that's good. It's the same.
It's the same. It's
It's the
just
same.
the technology changes, and if you work on a Merc Cruiser or you work on a Volvo, you work on a Marine Power or whatever.
Yeah, it's the same.
Basically the same. The technology is the only thing. The combustible part of the engine is the same. It's just the
And
technology.
one element that we have in common is, my friends, at the end of this program, I need that you think like engineers, not like technicians. This is the goal.
Yeah, and you're right. And we've told other students in previous classes that our goal is to make you think like we think, okay? Because you should be able to, by the time you're done with this course, you should be able to look at an engine, doesn't matter what engine, and you should automatically start thinking, oh, okay, this is how this comes apart. And you just should look at things and know how things come apart, or hey, I've worked on that engine before, this is a typical problem. Because each engine has its own trait of problems.
Correct.
And experience comes with that. But we're hoping that by the end of these videos and the course, that you should feel confident enough to look at an engine and know how to work your way around the engine.
Correct. Another important thing is that in our coming classes of gas, transmission, and diesel, we are going to try to solve the problems without the manual.
Yeah.
Not the manual, without the scanner.
The scanner, yeah.
Because the people, the majority of the technicians today, they respond, oh, I don't have the scanner, that's not possible. No, that's not true, my friend. We are going to demonstrate that if you use the brain, you solve it 99% of the problem.
I'm gonna give you an example to you guys. Imagine you're called off to a job and you're gonna go do, there's a problem with the engine not running right. And we're gonna teach you how to do it without a laptop. But let's just say you go there with your laptop and you realize it's not charged and it's dead. So what are you gonna tell the customer? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't work on the boat? That guy will never call you again.
Yeah.
So you should be able to troubleshoot a motor without a manual to a certain degree, because the problem is if we teach you how to use a computer, every company might have a different computer.
Yeah.
So then what happens in that sense is, so we teach you one computer, but you have no idea what the other computer is. So the whole idea is like to troubleshoot without the computer. That's the old ways, because that was the way I learned. Mm-hmm. There was no computers. I know that's the way you learned.
Yeah,
there was no computers. So we had to do it meters, doing it by hand, and then that's something that you guys will learn.
In some cases, you solve the problem only smell, you hear, and according with the sound, you identify easily what is the problem. We have a great video about the troubleshooting in a four-stroke Suzuki.
Suzuki,
video,
yeah,
no?
absolutely.
Oh, that's wonderful. With that engine, I remember have one code.
Yeah, have one code.
But we found the 3 additionals during the process. No,
exactly.
That's wonderful, my friends.
As far as the senses that you're talking about,
Oh yeah,
that's just as equally as important as a tool, because if you smell something burning, that means something's getting hot, or you smell too much gasoline's running rich, or you see a water leak visually,
correct.
or you hear a knocking sound,
Okay.
or you're checking the oil and you see in the viscosity if it's too grainy,
Correct. Exactly.
or there's metal in it.
Correct.
So your senses are just as important as a tool.
Correct.
And you guys don't realize you guys have built-in tools in yourselves that you just need to learn how to use them.
Use the sense is critical, no?
Absolutely. I mean, you can smell if it's burnt oil.
Yeah,
I mean, that's something guys will, with experience, you understand using your senses, but you have to recognize the senses. You know, your car's overheating, you're gonna smell, or if there's leaking antifreeze, you can smell the antifreeze.
Correct. Yeah.
Stuff like that. So when you guys are working on any engine, you should always use your senses. Even if you're doing simple things on the motor, I'm only just changing spark plugs. Well, as you're changing spark plugs, it's not a no-brainer. You can look around. Oh man, there's wires melted.
Yeah.
Well, wires melted means the engine got hot.
Yeah.
Or when the engine's running, you smell exhaust, or you smell gasoline.
Correct.
You know, or you see water coming out of the engine, spilling everywhere. You know, those are the senses you need, and that's just that's a tool that you don't have to carry. It's always on you. You just got to know how to use it.
Correct.
And that's what we're here for, is to teach you how to use it.
And we are going to emphasize in those topics and other. We gave to them in each episode a lot of tips, a lot of recommendations according with your experience, with my experience, the experience of Glenn, other technicians. My friends, at the end of this program, you have in your pocket a lot of experience, a lot of certifications, because we are going to prepare in each course our students to take the ABYC certification related with that topic. No?
Correct. Absolutely.
At the end of this program, you are ready to take a certification. The idea is that at the end of each class, you take that certification. This is wonderful, my friend, because you are prepared at the end of this program, master technician with the A certification.
Professor Alvaro and I, we wanted to make you guys the best technicians out there.
Correct.
That's our goal. That's why we spend the time to do these videos, because I think we can get more information to you on these videos, and then we apply them in the labs, and you'll see. We want you to feel comfortable with that knowledge. That's really what it is. Confidence will come with time.
Correct.
At least with us, you know, you get to use that knowledge that you learn, and you won't forget it. Because if we just teach you and you never apply it, you won't remember it. You know,
and additionally, in particular classes, for example, in gasoline, additional to the certification of the class and the ABYC certification, you can get the Yamaha certification.
Absolutely. Professor Alvaro and I, we definitely worked really hard to get this Yamaha course going.
Correct.
So it's a really basic course, entry level. Because we laid out the groundwork for this, we're able to get you some certifications with Yamaha, and with those certifications, you can pretty much get at least an entry level job.
Correct.
Working for Marina.
And also in courses like electronics. At the end of the class, you can take the NEMA certification.
Absolutely.
The NEMA 2000 certification.
Yeah, and you can do installations on radars and
all the electronics.
You guys are gonna have all this underneath your belt. You guys they don't realize the amount of knowledge that we're gonna give you and how useful it'll be.
Correct.
But with time, you'll see it.
Yeah, this is a critical part. This is the service manual. Other important manual, Danny. Some people say, "Oh, I have the manual," and when you visit the boat, you found that they have this
owner's manual, operator's manual.
That's the owner manual. But sorry, my friends, this is for the owner.
Right. They have some troubleshooting abilities here, but it's very minimal.
It's basic, no?
It's very basic. So here's what it looks like. Their troubleshooting.
It's a simple troubleshooting.
It's a very simple troubleshooting.
Turn off, check the oil, check the level. I start again. Okay.
That's only for the operator. Operator is not a mechanic. So.
But this is not for a mechanic like you. This is for the owner.
Right.
But that's it. The service manual. What is the other name in other manufacturers for the service manual?
They have they have the service manual,
operational
shop manual, operation manual is going to be the owner, but it's really the shop manual or the service manual.
Service manual. That's okay. And the most important.
And you have your parts catalog.
The parts manual. The parts catalog is this is if you don't have the parts catalog, is you have problems.
Right.
But today the parts catalogs are online, no?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna show you the CD. See, before the internet became really popular, you had the parts manual, which that's how you looked up parts. And actually, before that, they used to have microfiche.
Yeah, the microfiche.
We had to look up stuff, and if you don't know
that equipment.
yeah, right on the screen, you'll see the microfiche. We had to look up parts that way. Then they came with a parts manual, and then they came with a service manual on a CD and a parts manual on a CD.
Yeah.
And now you can get it if you're a dealer for Evinrude or you're a dealer for Mercury or a dealer for whoever manufacturer. Now you can go to their website as a dealer and you can get that information. It has called Electronics Parts Catalog.
Correct. Yeah.
Which we'll show you in the video here. How electronics parts catalog work on a Mercury and an Evinrude, so you see the two.
For that reason, one of the first recommendations, the first one, you receive a phone call from your customer. You need ask to the customer the manufacturer of the engine or transmission or generator, whatever you want to work, the serial number, the part number, and immediately check if you have the manual. If not, download the manual.
Correct.
Or in some cases, you can ask to the captain. Captain, you have the manual? Because you need the manual. If you don't have the manual, don't try to repair.
This is how I accumulated my manuals over 20 years. Basically, if I worked on an engine and I didn't have a manual, I'd order the manual. Because I really think that once you order that manual, it's not like you'll never see that motor again. You're going to work on that motor again, so you already have it. So this is just as important as your tool in your toolbox. This is a tool that you keep on your shelf in your office.
And my friend, this business, the marine business, is a great business.
Absolutely, it's good money in the business.
You recover that money in fraction of seconds.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, when I started my business, I started in my backyard of my house.
Correct.
To having a full-fledged marina for money. And that's because a couple of things that plays a part. First of all, anytime you work for anybody or work for yourself, you should always pretend it's your business, that you're using your equipment and your knowledge and present yourself as a good technician. Now, you come in as a technician, just like whatever, I'm just here, you're just here to collect a check, you're never going to go anywhere. This is something that I'll be honest with you, to be a mechanic, you have to enjoy the mechanics. If you don't enjoy the mechanics and you don't enjoy that, to me, I love troubleshooting, especially something I've never seen. I just want to know how things work. And that's just like what we call gearheads. It's just ingrained in you. You want to know how something works, and you're already looking at it, how you can tear it apart and how to tear things apart.
Correct.
That's the mentality you need to have. So, like for instance, if I've never torn something apart, I would get the service manual, because you don't want to make things worse. You want your goal is to fix it, not break it.
Correct.
So the service manual helps you and it guides you. Now, the service manual only tells you certain things, but then you have like technicians like us that will say, well, this is what the service manual, now this is mechanic to mechanic.
Yeah.
And the mechanic to mechanic is, now we're sharing our experience with you to do it differently with the service manual, only because we found an easier way. The service manual is just black and white, this is the way it is, but there's other ways that could be done, and that's why when we say mechanic to mechanic, that's kind of like sharing our experience. Oh, I can do it this way, but my way is easier, and this is why.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay, we have a service manual, we have a parts manual, and there are other rigging manuals.
Rigging manuals here.
Exactly, rigging. That's perfect. Oh, rigging is other important.
Especially
topic.
if you're a dealer for some company, whichever manufacturer company you're dealing with, you are representing the manufacturer. So when you're rigging the boat, you're rigging it to what the manufacturer specs are. I mean, I do it all the time, so I really don't need this manual, but if I have a doubt or something and I'm not sure, I refer to my installation manual. But the installation manual should be given to every technician who's installing it. Now, if you're installing the same motor all the time, then you eventually will not need this, but in the beginning.
We have a special couple of episodes related with the rigging, and we did the rigging for inboard, for outboard, for airboats.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Nice. Was nice.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing about the manual. I'm going to tell you what I did when I started in this business, and this is going back some time. When I was going to work on something, I would talk to the owner of the shop or the service man. Hey, can I bring the manual home? And I'd read the manual. Because It's better to read it at home, only because no one's bothering you.
Correct.
You're not under pressure with time. And then when you come to the job the following day, you have a better understanding. You still need the manual, you can still look through it, but at least you already read through and you're just looking for key points. So it's important. The service manual is so important. I just can't stress it.
Let me complement that one. Normally, when I receive a phone call with a problem, a particular problem, I ask to the captain or to the owner a lot of questions. A lot of questions related with the problem.
Right.
The engine stopped. Only, oh yeah, well, okay, at some RPMs shoot down, okay, and you ask, and you ask, and you ask, and after that, when I finish the conversation, I go to the manual, I check the troubleshooting of the manufacturer, and I check online other forums of other people with problems similar to that problem, and the next day, when I visit the boat, I have a good about
a good resource
correct.
to get all the information.
And normally, and until today, I solved all the problems because I prepare the manual, I prepare the situation, and I prepare the tools. That this is the next coming episode is about the tools.
Yes. Hello guys, welcome to Mr. Lopez's class. I have a customer here named William, and he's coming bringing his boat at our shop. So I'm going to let him explain what's going on, and I'm going to show you how you ask specific questions. So William, what's going on? Give me an idea what's going on with the boat.
Yeah, well, the boat's almost 2 years old in January, and we just had it on the St. Johns River. And when you get it up on a plane, and you're going, it could be anywhere from 5 minutes, 10 minutes, somewhere in there, but it will just throttle down. You'll think that I just put it back in neutral, and I didn't. It just it just throttles down. And then if I bring it into neutral, click it in, and then accelerate, it goes for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then it throttles down.
Any alarms?
No.
No alarms. Okay. Now, when the engine stops running, is it a gradual, like it's running out of fuel, or is it like electrical, like someone shut the key switch off?
No, it's exactly as if I pulled the throttle.
If you're bogging down.
Just
okay.
and not fast, but just kind of a pretty good pullback on the throttle.
All right. So no alarms.
No.
So it starts up with no problems.
Starts fine. Idle's fine.
So your problem is, if you had to give me an RPM range, where would you see when it starts falling down? Like if you're going 1,000 RPMs, no issues. If you go past 1,000 RPM, does it start doing it?
I kind of try to do some experiments with that, and I try to do kind of just putter along a little bit, and that doesn't seem to do it if you just are going really slow.
Right.
But I think if you get like barely on a plane or half speed, 3/4, it'll happens about equally often. So
Okay, perfect. All right, so then basically what we'll end up doing is, like the standard procedure, we'll do compression and spark check, and then I'm going to take it to the water. I'm going to replicate it so I can do my diagnosis there. So
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you that information just to kind of pinpoint where we're going to go.
yeah, and also just for I was here about probably a year ago with a similar issue. I would start it up and I would hit the throttle and it just wouldn't go.
It wouldn't go. And it's doing the same thing?
No,
And that was a TPS, I remember correctly.
It was like a
Throttle position sensor.
Exactly right. It was a sensor.
Right.
It almost seems like the same thing, but it's throttling down. But if I put it in neutral, then it goes back. So I know nothing about boats or very little. I'm guessing it's the fuel filter.
All right.
And if not, it might be a bigger issue. Like
Okay.
a sensor.
Yeah, we'll do our checks and we'll check that out. Okay.
Perfect.
Well, I appreciate letting us ask you questions on the video so the students can see a real scenario how we ask questions.
It's a real one.
Thank you.
All boaters go through it.
So let's trim her down a little quick. A little bit more. Keep going. Just a little bit more. Here, that's good. Holy. Yeah. Okay. So this is what I'm going to do. To verify that it is the cable, I'll disconnect this linkage, and that'll tell me if it moves really freely. Then the problem is the tilt tube's probably got.
And she mentioned that on the phone.
Yeah, that's common, especially if it doesn't get used often. You'll get corrosion build up in the tilt tube where the rod goes in, and it gets stiff and it binds. The salt water evaporates and leaves the salt crystals, and it binds. So
That's exactly what she said.
Once I disconnect this, then we'll know.
Okay. So that's kind of a second issue there. If you can
Yeah, I'll put that on the work order. That's
check
not a
the
problem.
steering.
Yeah, the tools. The
Tools are just important when you start working on motors. You're gonna know what tools you need.
Yeah,
In the beginning, you're not gonna know,
Yeah.
but you'll know what tools you specifically need. The technician's only as good as his tools.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're the vice grip man and you want to use vice grip for everything, you'll never get anywhere.
This is the presentation card.
I mean, that's like a doctor coming with a rusty knife here. I'm gonna do surgery on you. No, your tools represent you.
Let me tell you something. When my first interview, 100 years ago, I remember that the guy in the interview, I entered, my name is Alvaro, I am interested to work. Okay, I have a question. Can I check your minivan? And I said, yes, okay. He checked my minivan, he checked my tools, and he said, you want to start on Monday? And I start Monday.
Yeah.
That was in downhill man generators in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. And you know,
unbelievable. That was my interview.
Yeah.
Only check my car.
And you know why? Because you invested in the right tools to get. Because if you come in with carpenter tools as a mechanic, you're out.
Yeah.
So
I know.
you represent yourself. I do the same thing when we hire. We say, "What tools you got?"
Yeah.
You know, we want to see, because if you're really interested in being in this field, you would invest the money to do tools, because when you work for a shop, the one thing you don't want to do is be borrowing tools, because you'll be out of there.
In the next episode, we are going to talk a lot about those tools, the tools that you.
So,
okay, finally, those are the manuals.
hydraulic
Exactly. This is for the hydraulic for power steering system. In the course of hydraulic, we use a lot of those manuals. In other words, depending on the topic that you are working in that moment, you need the manual. You need the service manual, you need the parts manual, and in some cases you need the installation manual, depending on the manufacturer. My friend, if you don't have the manuals, don't try it, because you make a lot of mistakes. No, because a friend of mine, no.
Yeah, that's another thing. Everybody thinks they're a mechanic.
Yeah.
So I have a friend that said, do it this way. Trust me, when we tell you to do it a certain way, it's because every mistake that you guys are gonna make, we've already made.
Yeah.
So we're trying to prevent you from making any mistakes in the future. So if you listen carefully to when we say do a certain way, trust me, we're doing it because that's the easiest and best way to do it.
Don't forget, listen to the customer, to the captain. Copy all the complaints, Analyze the complaints before you visit the boat. Analyze the complaints.
Yes.
Ask to other technicians.
That's another tool.
That's
another tool. I mean, you guys are not going to be service writers in the beginning, but you have to understand the complaint. I'm going to just give an example. If customers, my motor shuts down. Okay. Well, some of the questions, does it shut down after it runs for a little bit? Or after an alarm goes off? Those are specific questions. And later on in the videos, we'll go more specific on that.
Yeah, correct.
But there's key questions that you have to ask only to kind of narrow down where you want to go on the motor. Because if the guy just says shut down, so where are you going to start?
Yeah, correct.
Is it shut down after alarm goes off? Maybe it's overheating. I mean, those are the things. So those, and the other videos will explain more little detail. We just want, this intro here is kind of like we're giving you a little taste of a little bit of everything. Things that are essential and important, these videos will be more detailed for that.
We are going to get to you a lot of perspective of each topic, but we want that you finish the program, and at the end of the program you take a decision. I want to be specialized in gasoline engines, in hydraulic systems, in fiberglass. But it's good idea that you know everything. Is possible to be the manager of a marina like this?
Absolutely.
If you only know about electronics?
No,
that's not possible.
You have to be well-rounded.
Correct.
And understand everything, because you as the service manager, you're kind of almost like a tech support.
Correct.
To your technicians.
Okay.
Like for instance, for me, I still turn wrenches, but I run the business. But if someone runs in a jam, they call me. I go do the analyzing it, and I'm not to say that I know everything, but just like you said, we have other technicians that we work with, other marinas. They may be running the problem, because working with others also is very important.
Yeah.
You'll see if you go work for a big company, it's not quite like that. Everybody's kind of like keeps to themselves. But if you can find technicians that you work along with, because in the beginning you guys are going to be just like helpers, okay, and helpers. So I tell every student, if you're going to be the helper, be the best helper. That every technician wants you to be the helper.
Superior to the rest.
Because what happens is then you'll eventually be on your own, because the owner of the company is going to say, or the service manager or the management say, well, man, everybody wants this guy. This guy's pretty much proficient. So you know what? We're going to let him go on his own now and do your own thing. That's the only way you do it, because you have to prove yourself. There's no one's just going to give it to you. Nothing's given to you. You have to prove it, because if you're working on $100,000 boat to $1 million boat, That's a lot of trust that you have to put in a technician to work to fix that boat. Because you may cause a fire or blow up an engine, someone gets hurt.
Correct. And this is the last recommendation. Be honest.
Oh, absolutely. You have
Be
nothing-
honest.
You want your technician that works on your car to be honest with you, right? He doesn't want to tell you you got a blown engine, but really got a flat tire. You have to be honest, because this industry is big, but it's very small. And when I say small, is bad news travels a hell of a lot faster than good news. So
In this business, my friends, the most important part, in my opinion, is create a good reputation.
you're a boat doctor.
Yeah. You are a boat doctor.
You're a boat
Exactly.
doctor. You're a boat doctor. You don't want to go to a doctor and he tells you the wrong information or gives you a medication that makes you even worse. You'll never go back to the doctor.
Correct.
So if you do something wrong on the boat because you didn't pay attention or didn't take the time to read the manual, they're never going to call you again. It's no different.
I say to my student, hey, my friend, you want to know in what moment you are a real doctor in boats? You know what? In the moment when you can solve difficult problems by phone.
By phone.
If you can solve a problem by phone, disconnect the green cable, and now the orange, put together the orange with the black, the engine start, you are a doctor. Because you know where is the cable, where is located the cable. In that moment you are, okay, but this is a lot of information.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
That happens with time.
With time.
And the more time you put into learning the stuff and understanding it, you can eventually get there if you really put your heart to it.
Yeah, we are going to explain the procedure to read the oil report, the coolant sample report, in order to analyze what happened in an engine. You don't need to visit the boat, only with the report you know.
Yeah, well, I just did one on my truck that you use for the school. I wish you didn't. We got to find another one that has problems in it so I see it. But we do that, and you know what? And I'll be honest with you, my part of the industry on the gasoline side, that's not very commonly used. But since I've been working with Alvaro, I see a huge value in it because it's an indicator. It really is an indicator, because if there's wear and tear on the motor, that motor will leave samples in the oil that you can detect, and it gives you kind of like a heads up before you get into it.
Correct. Okay, guys, now in the next second part of this chapter, we are going to talk about the measurement tools.
Yeah.
And we are going to give a lot of recommendations in order to apply the torque, to use the filler gauge.
Yeah.
And we hope you enjoy the next coming video.